Hey and welcome to this walkthrough for Novella Carbon, an absolutely huge toolkit full of dark industrial sounds ready to fill cinemas and push you and your music to new limits. Hands down inspired by Trent Reznor and Atticus, but also taking cues from Ludwig Göransson, the Haxon Cloak, and dare I say it, there's some Radiohead in there too. This is the third release in our award-winning Novella series. It's designed as a complete toolkit with everything you need in one place to create an entire score or an album. Novella Carbon is our most fearless release to date and really pushes things to extremes, fusing the organic with the industrial. This is an immersive landscape designed to sound widescreen. We've collaborated with The Unfinished, an absolute industry titan of sound design. He's worked with people like Hans Zimmer and Lorne Balfe, creating custom sounds for scores like June, No Time to Die and The Creator. And for Novella Carbon, he's created a complete and bespoke set of synth and modular drum sounds that are truly incredible. We've worked on some entirely new string techniques as well that feel immersive and defiant, but still have that same human sound you've come to expect from us. As well as this, there are loads of other instruments to play with, which will keep you excited and inspired for many, many nights to come. Right, there's absolutely loads to get on with, so let's get stuck in. So we kick things off with our Helix Ensemble, which is a chamber-sized string section recorded across the entire width of the studio. So we've recorded high strings together and low strings together. High strings, 6 violins, 3 violists, but played and seated across the entire width of the studio. So you're creating this really wraparound immersive stereo sound. And then to complement that, we've recorded this huge range of really interesting techniques, some of which push the players to their absolute limit. They've done an amazing job to record some of the things we've asked them to in a really unusual seating layout as well. So they've done a brilliant job and it sounds incredible. We'll start things off with a technique we call Nexus, which sounds like this. Unbelievable. So you've got the high strings all rising up and down, falling on the fifth in unison together. This one here where I've got selected to both is there. Some of them are starting on the root and others are starting on the fifth above and then weaving in and out. But then we've also got these up and down separate versions. Down as well. Absolutely lovely, so rich and gorgeous, and how epic and big just these few amount of players can sound when we've got them in this amazing seating layout. The next one is Vesper. Really alive and glassy and lovely to play. Absolutely amazing. What I'm encouraging people to do with this library is to not necessarily think of these as traditional string sounds, but to think of more of them as just like sounds and see what you can do to push them. On the effects page here, we've got a really extensive range of built-in effects, which are really incredible. And just to be able to push these string sounds and do something absolutely unheard of with strings is really, really cool to do. So I definitely encourage you to push some of these around and do something interesting with them. Really, really cool just to be able to take sounds, don't think of them as traditional string sounds, and just make them into your sounds. That's what's definitely good about this library. Let's just take off these just so you can hear the sounds on their own next. We've got felt, which is where the players are using felt guitar picks. We ordered stack loads of these so everybody could just get the perfect pick that they wanted for their attack. And this is a muted sound as well, so we asked them to sort of dampen the sound so it becomes like a really percussive sound. Just take off the reverb so you can just hear the studio, and I'll choose mix 3 for this one as well. You've got 4 different mixes that are range from kind of like quite close to more immersive and bigger and more sort of like hyped, as well as the 4 different microphone positions as well, so you can create your own perfect mix: spot, room, gallery, and then, like I say, these outriggers as well, which sound really, really far and wide. Next, we'll move on to these LFO techniques, and this was a real challenge for the players. They absolutely smashed it in the end, but to ask them to play like a synth with an LFO with this constantly undulating volume to their playing definitely pushed them to their limits, and to get it tempo synced as well. So this is what it sounds like. As you can hear, they're just constantly applying bow pressure, trying to get that as smooth as possible. Amazing. And then we've also got this LFO kind of accentuator, so this amplifies the LFO effect. And then to really kind of like push this idea that potentially these strings could be inside of a synth, we've put a filter on there as well. It's a really nice sounding filter. Again, just really pushing this idea that this is a hybrid library. Don't take these sounds, we've recorded them in the most realistic way possible, but please take these sounds and push them. Be encouraged to experiment with them and push them into places that you never thought possible. So let's just try something with this. Let's put some different effects on there. Moving on to the legato strings next, where we've recorded high strings and low strings separately, performing this absolutely amazing, natural, true legato. And then low strings. Really deep and rich, and as you can hear, having all those strings so spread apart, it's really creating this immersive sound. It's really, really lovely to hear. You've also got a speed controllers here, so if you wanted to do something a bit more agile, you can do. Next, I'll show you the high and the low strings separately, so you've got all of these different articulations to play with. Absolutely huge range of sounds, loads of different ideas. The first one of which is Chroma, where we basically ask the players to play as subtly out of tune as they possibly could do. Normally, you ask players in a section to play as in tune as possible. Here, we've got them to specifically play slightly out of tune to get this natural chorusing effect. And next we'll move on to Spectral. So much life and energy in there, it's absolutely great. Vesper's next. And again, if we put some more effects on these just to really push them home, so kind of using the trans pitch and then some of these as well. these strings don't sound organic anymore, but they sound electronic and kind of much more synth-like, which was exactly the aim, is how far can we push some of these organic sounds into the realms of being a bit more electronic and experimental. And I think we've absolutely achieved that with all of these sounds. Let's move over to Nexus next, which you've heard on the ensemble patch, but here on the high strings you've got them separately. Really great to play. Arcs here. So just these really nice little short, delicate swells. Really nice. And then the felt picks on their own. Felt picks are great with delay on. And then again, let's just try and make these, push them into somewhere else. Really cool. Onto the LFOs separately. So you've heard them again with the ensemble patch. And then we've got these stereo ones as well. And this was a huge challenge, because basically what we're asking them to do is the different sides of the studio to play alternately. So one was playing on the beat, one was playing off the beat, and they were trying to pulse in and around each other. So what you'll hopefully hear there is this sort of like pulsing between the left and the right speakers as the sound in the studio is moving right to left. Absolutely unbelievable players to achieve this sort of like pulsing sound, playing in around, not playing in unison, actually playing against each other. Really, really cool. Again, this sounds quite good with a bit of delay on there. Brilliant. That to achieve that organically in the studio is an absolutely incredible feat. So again, you can really push this sound and make it even more unbelievable with the LFO dial. Really cool. I'm in love. I'm absolutely overwhelmed with this whole library. Periphery next, if you're wanting something slightly softer. This again is with the high strings only, and we've got them to play this sort of like much more softer soltasto sound, and then this side slider brings up the left and right hand side of the studio players. So we recorded the players separately, the ones in the middle of the studio and the ones on the outside of the studio. such a really soft, gentle sound, and just to kind of like increase the number of players and the width of the players at the same time is a really interesting sound. And then lastly, we've got this decay, which we've got on the low and the high strings. Let's move on to the low strings so you can hear all of those sounds on the low strings. So, Chroma first. Obviously a bit more ominous and sort of like monstrous with the low strings, but again that subtle kind of like pitch shifting chorusy effect is really apparent there. Spectral. Kind of like this scrubby figure of eight kind of bowing technique that he worked on to get this sound. Vesper's next. Really dark and ominous, and this is where they're kind of like continuously moving their bows around the bridge position, kind of going from sol tas to more sol pont, and just creating this like really unnerving sound. It's absolutely lovely. Decays sound great on the lower strings. And then the arcs on their own. Really cool. And then felts. LFOs. And then eights. And then for the LFO stereos, I'll take you over to Mix 3, which is a bit more of a hyped, aggressive sound. Motherboard and Machina, which I'll show you in a minute, have both been created in collaboration with the Unfinished. We've known him for a while and we're trying to find the right project for him to collaborate with him on, and then when this came about we were like, there's nobody else, let's go for it. This is our time to work with him. We sent him a brief, sent him off for a few weeks, and then he came back with this unbelievable set of sounds. So that is just the start. There's absolutely loads of sounds in here, ways to manipulate them as well. I'll show you the interface in a minute. Just want to show you some of the sounds first. And there's a big range in here, stuff from that's like big and epic and nasty, all the way to kind of like more nerdy and kind of like geeky. And then there's some like real unnerving, sort of like more modest synth sounds as well, but ones that you definitely won't have heard of before. All of these have been custom created for this library, so everything is brand new. Next, I'm going to show you Starspawn. as you can hear, like you're loading one up and it's instantly a cue. That's what it's been really good for, is just that initial spark of inspiration. Not sure what to do. You've got that blank template syndrome. Load one of these up and it's going to put you on a new trajectory, a new path immediately. There's what I'm going to do with my next track. I'm going to show you some of these controls next. So you've got high pass and low pass filters, as you've heard in some of the demos. So really nice filtered sound effect there. And then you've got an LFO as well. Which you can either tempo sync to your DAW or you can just set it free. Do with that what you want, turn the depth off and it doesn't have any effect at all. And then you've got these variation controls as well. One for the ADSR, which varies how much each of these controls changes every single time you press a new note, and then one for the tuning and the panning. And I'm just going to choose a different sound for these just to demonstrate it a bit better. So with the ADSR you can change the attack, but then this control down here changes how much, at which point that chooses the attack time. And then in combination with the variation of tuning and panning, you can really start to introduce some nice natural variation. So the tuning one, will slightly vary the tuning every single time you press a new note, all the way up to sort of like quite out of tune. I like it around the middle. And then the panning is kind of like deciding at random where it's going to position that sound on the stereo field. And then with the ARP turned on, this is where suddenly these controls in combination work really, really well together. And an arpeggiator is that instant way to create that sort of Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross synth sound, where it is this constant motion and movement, and they use that loads. But introducing these kind of controls makes it feel a bit more analog and a bit more alive, and there's stuff moving all the time, and that it's not just this, it's a repetitive pattern, but it's this moving repetitive pattern that feels really cool. Machina has also been created by the Unfinished. He's absolutely gone to town on creating loads of these organic loops made with a Moog D FAM. These are incredible. Modular drum machine, really, really interesting to use, really tricky to use, but once you get the hang of it, you can create some unreal drum sounds and ones that don't sound like anything you've heard before. is such good fun to play. There's loads. There's just too much to play. I've been hours at this, just constantly experimenting, constantly playing, just coming up with different loops, different patterns. So there's loads on this one. So there's two sets of engines, engine 1 and engine 2, and these are basically just all these loops. We didn't categorize them, we didn't sort of like put them in any particular order. This is experimental. None of them really belong in any category. You've just got to play them to figure out what they do. So good. It is really, really fun to play. So I'm getting distracted already. So two sets of engines and then all of these different loops across the entire keyboard, all recorded on this Moog DFAM at 90, 120 and 140. So whatever BPM, there's tempo sync as well, obviously, to your DAW. So whatever tempo you're working at, you'll be able to find one that fits. And then you've got bolts as well, which are just all of the one shots. You've got distortion, again, variation and panning, different options, again, from the motherboard. So every time you hit a new sound. And then you can tune each drum and each loop independently. Lots of these are sort of like a pitched sound, so you will want to tune them to your composition. And then controls over the attack and decay times, and then filters as well as separate. Absolutely loads. It's so fun. It's just to be able to play all these loops and just get carried away. You will lose hours on this thing, definitely. You can use your pitch bend wheel as well to change these. So that's quite cool to sort of like program that into as well. If you want to change the pitch bend range, you can do on this page. So all the way up to, I think we go up to an octave. Yeah, so you can change exactly how much you want to pitch bend all of those different sounds. So it's really, really good. Some of these are like sub destroyers for sure. So like 100% be careful with what comes out of this. Onto Hive next, and this is our instrument inspired by the Swarmatron, an analog synthesizer made famous by Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross during the Social Network soundtrack. And this is basically 8 analog oscillators all feeding into the same source to create this like natural chorusing effect and this Swarmatron effect. So you've got these 8 banks up the top here, each feeding with 14 different oscillators. So these have all been sampled through Moog oscillators, really fat analog sound. Some of these we've just used the original like sawtooth or sine wave oscillators. Others we've resampled, put them through guitar pedals and stuff to kind of make them a bit more interesting. So I can just turn all of them off. You can just use this as a really simple synthesizer if you want to. So if we just turn one on, you can just have one on their own, or you can turn as many as you want on, and then all feeding into the same engine. Spread controls how far apart all those oscillators are left to right, so you can create a really stereo sound effect. And then you can set them all to the same bank. Got one sound that you really like, you can feed them all in, or you can just randomize all of them so they're all completely different. And how I've got it set up here is with a glide, so it's monophonic, so you can only play one sound at one note at the same time. Like the original instrument has this ribbon controller where you can control the pitch, and it's not polyphonic. We've changed that so you can make it polyphonic. Really nice, like creating these big massive synthscapes, and you can turn the glide off as well, so rather than it's legatoing and sweeping into each one of those notes, it's just normal. True spirit of the instrument, I think it's quite nice that they glide between each other. And then the swarm knob in the middle basically changes the tuning of every single one of these banks in a slightly different way to create this sort of like swarmy chorusing effect. At the moment, by default, it's just set to 1, so it's quite a subtle effect. Or you can push it all the way up to 12 to create this really chaotic sound. Again, randomizing all the banks. And then you've got all of the effects on this page as well to completely change how it sounds. So let's just take it down to a few banks. Such a unique synth to play, and one that you're going to have loads of fun with. You can really create some like quite just subtle background synth effects, but what this is really good for is those like big massive synth sounds that this instrument is designed for. Vox has been recorded by an amazing vocal artist called Gemma Fries. We've had the immense pleasure of working with her on this, and she has brought some really experimental ideas. So it's a solo female instrument for this part of the library. Loads of different ideas in here. Again, the idea is that there is an organic element to this, but we really want you to push these and kind of like push them away from being like a natural sounding vocal effect. So we've got improvs to start with. And then ooze. And then these incredible shorts as well. And what we've got here along for the shorts specifically is the double effect that we've got from Rotor. So this is where it kind of like double tracks the effect, so you've got different sounds happening in the left and right speakers, and you can change the panning of that down here. And then you've got all of these short sounds that we've recorded, so n, ha, oo and and you can select which one of those is chosen. Or if you select all of them, it's going to pull from all of those sound sources. Really cool. With the shorts, I thoroughly recommend using a delay with them. then chatters. Same again, you've got like 3 different styles of chatters across the keyboard. Just turn off the reverb, the delay. And then these ones. Pulses. And these are the same as like our LFOs with the strings, is that we asked Gemma to sing in time with the music. And you've got the 3 different rhythms across the keyboard there. And chants, there's absolutely loads in this. Again, with that double effect, sounds brilliant. And then on to page 2, there's even more, so just standard longs. But even still, there's still movement in there, there's still motion and inner motion. We've got a legato patch as well. R's and O's. And then these bends are great. Bends 2. And lastly, swells. So with Vox as well, you've got the dry microphone signal if you just wanted to have the very raw signal from the studio. And then you've got FX1 where we've kind of done a tiny bit of processing to it just to clean it up and kind of bring it alive. Bit of compression and EQ and all that kind of stuff. Then FX2, which is where things start to get a bit more processed. And then FX3 as well, which is even more processed. Again, we wanted to give you this idea that these shouldn't be just treated as normal, like, yes, it's a really lovely experimental solo female vocal library, but at the same time, we want you to be able to push this and take it and do different things with them. All those examples there, no reverb or no external effects, that's just the individual mic signals itself. Next, we've got Ember, which is an amazing Kingswood upright piano, one of those really short upright pianos used where space is at a premium, but it has this really intimate sound. This was left in the nave by one of the former artists in residence there, and as soon as I saw it and played it, I was like, we've got to get this in, and this was the perfect library to use it. Obviously, Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross are known for their sort of piano motifs, really simple, earnest, honest piano sounds within their scores, and this was the perfect piano to use it for. Don't want to get too close to the original, otherwise we'll risk YouTube striking us off. But that's kind of like the piano that it's used for. Very close, very intimate. We recorded it in a really dry space, very close mic'd. You've got loads of mics to choose from. We've done 2 mixes as well, so there's the instantly playable, instantly usable, but there's also microphones galore to choose from. And then we've got this hidden piano as well, which is it's what I love to do. This is the piano I've been using for the demos, is just to take the lowest velocity layers from the piano and stretch those out and just use that for the entire piano sound. Absolutely beautiful. This library couldn't have existed without just an honest, humble, earnest, upright piano like this, and this was the perfect piano to use it for. You've got controls over the mechanisms as well, so keys, pedals and strings and all that kind of stuff that you'd expect to see from us, as well as all the effects if you wanted to. Let's really do something nice with this piano. So yeah, a library like this needs a piano like this. Don't take it for granted that it's just another piano in a library. This piano was the perfect piano for this library. And that the real juxtaposition for Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross's scores, it is this kind of like, you've got these honest, very sincere, very intimate instruments like pianos and vocals, mashed together with these huge like synths and like strings and big epic drums and angry guitars and stuff. And that's where this whole idea of light and shade, shadow and darkness came from, is just this juxtaposition between these two worlds. Wires was recorded using a Gibson Les Paul guitar, classic guitar for this genre, recorded with this stereo guitar rig. You've got the completely dry DI signal as well if you wanted to take that and put it through your own amp simulators and reamp and all do those kind of things as well. But we've tracked it through these 3 stereo guitar rigs, one that's just quite a nicely saturated distortion rig, another one that's bigger, and another one that's even gnarlier as well, so they get harder and more angry as you go on. So the longs are just sustain notes. I'll show you these signals now, might as well, while we're at it at the beginning. So that is just a very raw DI signal to take and do what you want with it. So FX2 is kind of like the meat of the sound, and then you've got FX1, which is just like a very nice overdriven sound. FX3 is my favourite, and it's like this really extreme, distorted, very stereo sound. That's going to swamp your entire EQ spectrum with sound. So if you wanted something just take over the score for an instant, that's the sound to use. And then power chords. Muted power chords. And then these natural rhythms as well, which has been performed humanly. So half, quarter, 8, and then there's a 16th as well, and then you've got muted versions as well. You've also got some of these unpitched rhythms down here. cool just to add some like nice texture to it, and then some noises. Right, onto Downfall. These two guitars are really well paired to each other. We kind of recorded them at the same time to get the same kind of feeling. This was recorded on a US Fender Jazz bass, and you get that really punchy sound. So again, you've got those like rhythms and then the sounds. And you've got the direct amp signal, so a completely clean signal, and then effects 1, 2 and 3 as well. Really cool. Shorts. Like really punchy, kind of like muted picking attack. Just hear the amp signal on its own. Styx is a vintage Premiere kit recorded at Woodworm Studios down in Oxfordshire. Really beautiful kit played by an amazing drummer and kind of like necessary for this kind of kit. Yes, you've got Machina, which is those massive, great big sort of like modular drum sounds, but just to have an acoustic rock kit as well is really, really useful. And then you've got a dead kit as well. And the dead kit is just a subtle variation where we've put towels over the toms and the snare as well, just to get a slightly more dampened sound effect. Okay, next what you'll see on that I've got on screen now is just some pre-programmed drums that we've created just to show you. I'm not a very good keyboard drummer, so this will show these in a bit better light. So this is MX2. Last on the list is Locus, and this is a range of film-inspired atmospheres, really good for just adding sort of extra texture and grit and grain to your soundtracks, just to make them kind of like crosses the world between sound design and music, really. And these have been recorded all across the world, all the way from this very room that I'm sat in now to Iceland to South Korea. Loads of different kind of like real world rooms that we've then taken and kind of pushed and made them actually usable in a musical context. They're split across the keyboard into these 4 categories. So you've got low sounds down the bottom, and then more rhythmical sounds in this yellow section, and then more medium sounds up here, and then a higher sounds at the top. And they're pitched as well, so you can play different notes on the same key and they'll all tune in together. So you can actually use them musically, but what we've originally created them for is just to kind of like add that additional texture and grit to the music. So that sound is made from our own servers. So that's kind of the noise of all of our samples and all of our recordings and all of our hard work in that one patch there. It's really cool. Really cool for the intros as well to tracks as well, where you're wanting to create mood and atmosphere and kind of like lead people into your track. These are what they're really good for. Right, okay, let's have a look at a couple of others. There's 2 pages of these. Signal Tower. Neural network as well is quite nice. That is it. That is Novella Carbon, full walkthrough done. It has been absolutely a brilliant journey to go through. I never thought we'd get to the end at some points because it's just been that exciting and that fun and that hard work to get here. This was never supposed to be a novella. This was only ever supposed to be this small little fun side project. And then as we got talking about it, our ideas, as they always do here at Westwood, we get carried away. We should do this, we should do this, we should do this. Throw in this, phone that guy up. Can we do this? And it all ends up for the better because it turns into this amazing thing that we've got here today. We really hope you enjoy it. As always, we love to hear what new music you start to make with our stuff. So yeah, send us your examples, keep in touch, because that's ultimately our goal, is to make stuff that goes out into the world and to create brand new music that you're really proud of. If there's anything I've missed, obviously drop a line in the comments, drop a line to the help centre and we'll help you out with anything you need to know about the library. But apart from that, I really hope you enjoyed watching it. It's been amazing. You're going to have loads of fun with it. Many nights to come, many late dark nights in your studios, wherever you are in the world, making some incredible new music. That's it. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you on the next one. Take care.